You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Sportscast here. You got your hosts Brian and Jeff on the line on a Friday. Hey Jeff, how's it going, buddy?
Going good. Going real good. Ready for this 3-day weekend.
I bet you are, but a lot of people are. I don't get off, but that's okay. This is the episode 149, NCAA Edition. Today we're going to give you in the spotlight of the week. We're going to go over the rankings for the college football, as that's actually already begun, but the big games are this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. We're going to go over the rankings there. We got some headlines for you, which include the schedule. I got the good games that are supposed to happen this weekend. We got a vote for a bigger playoffs in NCAA. We have Russell Wilson getting paid. We got Donovan Mitchell trade and much, much more right after this, guys. All right, guys. Well, first of all, thanks for tuning in. Anybody listening and watching live, feel free to jump on and get on to our chat on YouTube, and you can chat with us live during the show. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to us. We're going to talk about the spotlight of the week. It's NCAA. Okay, that's starting up this weekend. It's that perfect time of year, Jeff. We got college football starting the next week. Next weekend, we got the NFL starting. It's the perfect time of year. Temperatures start getting a little cooler, and it's just a great time. And this is probably my favorite time of year. My favorite sport. So I bet a lot of people feel that way. And fall is, we don't get much of a fall in Texas, but it's probably my favorite season here as well. But other than the NFL.
Well, yeah, fall is one of my favorite seasons. I'm definitely a huge fall person and winter person. So, but yeah, that's like around that time. That's when you get that feeling of football, feeling of it's about time. I'm kind of been biting at the bullet, especially for NFL stuff. But
oh yeah, with your quarterback, and that's always exciting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him in a little bit though. When he got paid, he got the Brinks truck back up, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But college football is great. I'm more of an NFL guy. A lot of people are more college people. I'm more of an NFL person. But I like to turn on college football, and you could have anybody playing. You could have nobody playing nobody, and it still turn out to be one heck of a game. But every Saturday night, they have usually the big hitter, and those are two top ranked teams usually playing. So I'll just turn it on and watch it. I follow TCU and BYU just about, but that's about it. I don't really. I'm not a big follower of one team. Like I root for them, but I'll watch any game, any college game that's on. That's what I love about it. You can find games left and right, and We have the top 10. Well, they have the top 25, but I just thought 25 teams was too long to get into here. uh, especially when it comes down at the end of the season. It's like, all right, only 4 are getting in the playoffs. So we have the top 10 list here, and we got Alabama number 1. They have voted that Bama is number 1, and Bama's always going to be up there, right? They're always going to be at the top 3 at least. They usually start the season off at number 1. Last year they finished number 2. They went 13-2. They lost in the championship to Georgia. Fantastic. I like to root against Bama because they're always there. They're always winning. They're the team that people get sick of, and you got Nick Saban and all that stuff. But they're at number 1 and rightfully placed. I'm not going to come out here with no hot take and say that somebody's better than them. So they've got to be beaten. And Georgia, you could think about what Georgia did last season and beating them. They beat them pretty handily in the championship game, but they lost a lot of their defense. They had it was crazy. It was a record amount of defensive players be drafted by the NFL, but from one team. So they lost that defense, and they've got to build that back up. So I can see them slipping down a little bit here. But what are your thoughts on Alabama there being number 1?
I mean, it's not a surprise. They're there in the mix every year. I mean, we've been talking about everybody's been talking about this team for years. They're the Patriots of the college football world.
I'll say that.
They just, it's pretty standard at this point. Everybody understands that. People that don't even watch college football know that Alabama is a big team. It's not a surprise. They're going to be in the mix. I just don't know when will we ever see the cliff? When will we finally see this kind of just
retires?
Probably.
I think.
So yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise whatsoever. I don't think this is a shock, not to me.
Definitely not. We have number 2, Ohio State, and last year they finished number 6. They were 11-2. They're talking about C.J. Stroud, their quarterback, making a run for the Heisman Trophy this season, probably going to NFL next year and being a top candidate. And I think he's going to come out and play really well this season. I honestly think that Ohio State will finish probably number 2 in the season. They're that talented as a football coach. They got as a football team, and they got a great coach. They're bringing back a lot of players, and when you can bring back players that in the NCAA, that's fantastic, because a lot of times you got to find that right time where you have a good enough team where people aren't leaving. Like Georgia's defense got all drafted by the NFL, and they've got to replace them with the recruiting and the NIL deals that are going crazy right now with that stuff. But when you can bring guys back where you're not losing a whole bunch of them, that's always fantastic news for you. And Ohio State, especially when the quarterback, when they switch over quarterbacks, that's difficult. But they're keeping their quarterback in, and I think they're going to have a good run this year. But they're number 2 right there, 11-2 last year. They didn't make they didn't make the playoffs. So there's only 4 teams in the playoffs, which is crazy.
They still have their bowl games, obviously.
Yeah, they got all those.
But in terms of it's down to 4. You take a look at these, even the top 4, one of these teams, and you think that they could easily all win a championship. One already did. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Ohio State, I mean, starting to get areas in Georgia, they were the champs, the defending champs. So yeah, I mean, it could easily be all 4 of them again. these top 4 teams. Mike's off.
Let me start that over. Georgia's number 3. They finished number 1 last year. They went to the championship, won it. Like I said, they got to replace that defense. That's going to be a struggle. They should still be a pretty good team, and Kirby Smart down there is a good coach, and I think they just paid him too. You got Clemson number 4, and Clemson would finish number 14 last year. 10-3, number 14. They took a big hit. I'm not sure if they brought in a different quarterback, if they got somebody else, because that's a pretty big jump. That's 10 spots. They're predicting them to be.
Was that last year? Was that the first year Trevor Lawrence was out, as well as a few other pieces of that massive team?
I think it could be. I think it could have been. So that's probably it, right?
Yeah.
Because Trevor Lawrence, this is his second year. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It would have been
Yeah.
that will do it. Like I said, you lose that quarterback, going into the next year, you got to replace him, and they're bringing back the same guy this year, but hopefully see them jump. You got Notre Dame at number 5. Last year they didn't finish number 8. They have a whole new head coach, so their coach Brian Kelly went over to LSU, which was a big shock. They got a new head coach in there. We'll see what happens. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, Jeff. They may be talented. But they are the. They're almost the Dallas Cowboys of the college football, or Texas Longhorns. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of talk every season, every year, and they never put it together, ever. They don't show up. The last time they made the playoffs, they got spanked by Alabama like 41-13. They didn't show up. And the last time the last time I thought of Notre Dame was I just watched the Manti Te'o Fake Girlfriend documentary. So if you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's pretty crazy of a story, but they're number 5. They might finish number 5. I think they fall to I think they probably finish between 8 and 10 this year. But they have a lot of hype, and that hype will get voters because, some of these teams will finish the same records, and it all depends on, the votes on gets you into the playoffs. Like last year, Cincinnati was Cincinnati only lost 1 game last year, but they didn't make the playoffs. And it's like, why did we not make the playoffs? This just depends on your record. It depends on, your schedule toughness. It depends on how big of a school you are, how much were you dominating. So I think that's the problem when it comes to only having 4 teams. But Texas A&M at number 6, first Texas team on the list, and it's not Texas, Jeff. It's Texas A&M. They weren't ranked last season. Their quarterback got hurt, and they were pretty good the year before. Their quarterback got hurt, and they were bad last season. And their quarterback's back, so they're projecting them to have a really good team. They got Jimbo Fisher there as the head coach, so they should bounce back this season as well. Utah's pretty high. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Was there controversy with Texas A&M? Is that why they weren't ranked, or is it just that bad?
They weren't ranked because they were just that bad.
Oh my God!
They fell out of the top 25,
okay.
And they lost their quarterback. They were going between a quarterback battle at that point, and they just weren't ranked last season. But the year before they were up in I think the year before that when they had their quarterback, they were like 6, 7, or 8, I believe. And then last year was unranked because that injury really hurt them. But Utah's pretty high here. Last year they finished number 12. They're number 7 here. They finished 10-4 last year, but they're pretty high on the list. I think that's another one that will probably fall off at the end of the year. And Michigan was number 3 last season. They're 12-2. But this year they have them at number 8 going into the season, and they could go up. I think they're another overhyped team. Was Harbaugh there hasn't really done anything since he's been there. He's lost to Ohio State every year except last year. They finally beat Ohio State, but that was it. That's his lone accomplishment there. And
he wasn't really a good coach to begin with, even when he was in the NFL. So it's not a surprise that he's kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean,
I think it's a lot of hype. His brother's really
his
good.
brother's great.
Ravens. Brother's fantastic. I think he's a decent coach. I wouldn't say he's anything special. But Michigan, I thought they were going to fire him last
That's
year.
what I thought.
And then they brought him back, and he finally beat Ohio State, and that right there is enough to keep
Right.
him for 3 more years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, which is crazy. Oklahoma finished number 10 last year. They're number 9 on this list, 11-2. They've got a new head coach. Their head coach tucked his tail when they heard that Texas was going to move to go face Oklahoma was going to move to go face the big boys. And Lincoln Riley said, "I'm going to go to USC." So, really bad look for him, but we'll see what he does out there in USC. And then you got Baylor at number 10. Last year, Baylor finished number 5. They were kind of a shocker last season. They finished number 5. They were really tough. Didn't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They were just right there. But we'll see what happens again this season and see if they can keep going and fight with the big boys.
And that's a team that I always think is always kind of under the radar. Baylor, every now and then Baylor will do something and you're just going, what the heck? Like where'd they come from? So yeah, it's interesting because there'll be years where you don't hear from them at all, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're one of the top teams. It's like, what is going on? So it's kind of a strange school in terms of football.
I agree with you. You don't expect them to do anything, and they're just kind of there, and you're like, oh wow, where did Baylor come from? They're a more successful TCU. TCU and Baylor, they're kind of a smaller school compared to Texas and Oklahoma, and but they put it together some years. And you're like, number 5 finished last season, fantastic for them and their football program.
And Baylor's in Waco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of TCU, I'm a TCU fan. I got a buddy that when I met him in college, and he went to TCU. That's what kind of got me to follow them. I find it so funny that they hired Sonny Dykes to be their head coach. And Sonny Dykes was a guy who came into SMU and made them relevant again. SMU hasn't been relevant since the death penalty in the 86, 90 something. It was,
jeez.
They got the death penalty because what they called the death penalty because they kept cheating. And when the NCAA said, you better stop, they said, no, thank you. We're going to continue doing it. And they put a punishment down so harsh on the college, they haven't been relevant. That's how bad this punishment was. And they said they'll never do that again. That's how bad the punishment was. But they were paying players to come there.
Do you know who was also there? There's some tie-in to Skip Bayless with this.
With what?
SMU and this whole thing.
Really?
I don't know if he had. There's some tie-in to Skip Bayless with this, and I don't know what it is, but I remember someone telling me about it when I worked at an insurance company. A guy was telling me that there was something with Skip Bayless. I don't know if it was that or he was the beat writer for them at the time or not, but it seems like maybe he was the lead writer for SMU sports at that moment. But there's something to that, but I don't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But what I find so funny about the Sonny Dykes is that Gary Patterson was TCU's coach for a long, long time. He put TCU on the map, okay? And SMU came into TCU and beat us and was disrespectful about it. And Gary Patterson didn't like that. The next day, the SMU put a billboard up in Fort Worth. I actually saw it when I was doing my job. And it was a disrespectful remark and talking about how that, I forget what it said, but it was just kind of rubbing it in that they beat us. TCU goes out, fires Gary Patterson, and then brings in Sonny Dykes, the guy who disrespected them, and it's kind of ironic and funny, but
yeah, that's crazy.
So
I wonder how the fans will what the fans will say.
As long as he wins, right? As long as he wins, I think
if he doesn't,
that's all that matters. And Gary Patterson's a defensive-minded coach. Now Sonny Dykes is offense, so I'm glad to see someone come in there with some offense in mind and go from there. But so that's your top 10 there. Spotlight of the week. Looking forward to this football season, both college and NFL. But
So in terms of now, maybe some people that are Georgia fans, what do you think that they're going to do? Do you think? I mean, if you have a bold prediction, do you see Georgia being in the mix again, or was that kind of like, oh, they got lucky that season? Maybe it's Bama.
I see Georgia being in the mix. Honestly, if you look at this list, I'd probably give it to the top 4 they have on there. I mean, you got Bama, definitely Bama, Ohio State, probably 1 and 2. I think that's kind of where they finish the season. I could see Clemson making a jump back up, probably being number 4, and Georgia being number or Clemson being number 3, and Georgia being number 4. I think Georgia would still compete and be competitive. They're really good there at getting defensive players to come play for them. Kirby Smart's a fantastic coach. Let me see who I can't remember who the freaking quarterback is. His name is drawing a blank. But they were great last year. Stetson Bennett, okay, kind of a no-name guy. But they got it done defensively, but they put a lot of points up there too. So I see them competing. I don't think there'll be much of a drop off. Do I think they're going to be champions again? I don't know. I honestly, if you ask me now, I'd probably say it's Bama versus Ohio State for the national championship, in my opinion.
That sounds about right.
Bama has the best odds. They said, I think, the highest odds ever going into this year to make it back to the championship.
And who was the guy that was kind of jarring with him in the media prior to this season that was talking a bunch of mess?
You're talking about Saban versus
yeah.
Oh, it was Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher.
Okay.
And Nick Saban put his foot in his mouth. And so I don't know if you know about the NIL deals and what those are.
I think we had talked about it, but it's a fascinating thing because I kind of I kind of hope at some point. I don't know if they will or not, but I would love to see Texas A&M versus Bama just to kind of see the hoopla.
I would
and the media circus and
let's see if they play each other. But basically, NIL deals was supposed to make it where players could get paid, basically.
Yeah.
Right? For their own name, image, and likeness. Now,
right. Hence NCAA football video game.
Yes. Now, yes. Back in the day, the NCAA is, first of all, NCAA is one of the most crooked organizations in history. Okay. I think this is well known. And actually, Texas A&M does play Alabama this season, but it's at Alabama.
Oh man,
that's going to be a good
fun.
One. That's October the 8th. But these NIL deals. So basically, back in the day, a player, if I was a college football player, I couldn't go and sign autographs and sell them. That's against the law. I cannot sell my own last name with autographs. That's how bad it was, right? So this is supposed to allow players to be on a team and get a car dealership deal where they do a commercial, you know what I mean? Or if they go out and promote Five Guys burgers, whatever they can get, you could do. Well, the NCAA put this out there, but there's no regulations to it, Jeff. There's none. So instead of how I figured this would work, I figured you would go to a team that you wanted to go to, and then from there you would try and get your own deals. These colleges are getting NIL deals for kids and then having them come there. They're coming there for the NIL deal, not for the football team, not for the college. Oh, I can get more money over here. That's where I'm going. Oh, I can get more money over here. That's where I'm going. Oh, you already got this NIL deal lined up for me? Sweet. That's where I'm going. Or they talked about it today on the radio. They're setting up. They have fake charities where they're paying these players, and it's the fake charity set up for it. It's not. So I like the idea of the NIL, but there needs to be regulations and rules to it. They just gave the NIL out and said, do whatever you want with it. And that's why Nick Saban came out and said that Jimbo basically said that every player that Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M players got was paid for, was bought. And Jimbo Fisher, was saying that's not right, that and was going back at Nick, and Nick Saban said I didn't say that he did anything wrong.
Yeah,
but you
I think
basically implied it.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
he
I
did
think
it.
that's one of the things we kept kind of talking about was that this is probably going to be something that he puts his foot in his mouth, and he did, because he knows he does the same thing. So
All these
it's very
colleges do.
interesting. And
And
I would love to know. I would love to know which teams are doing that and which aren't. And hopefully we'll end up one day finding out. That'll be cool.
Well, see, them having these NIL deals now allows teams to have so many loopholes of paying their players and not ever getting caught.
Yeah,
like I said, they have fake charities set up, and so it turns into a bidding war of who gets the most talented players.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with it. Instead of going to the school and being recruited because you like the coach and the winning and whatever, and then getting an NIL deal after you already signed, people are going there because those deals, because that money, or they're transferring to a different school because they can get more NIL deals. So it's turning everything into a big hoopla, and they just didn't do it very smartly, in my opinion. But we got some more NCAA stuff to talk about in the headlines. We want to go ahead and jump on over there, guys, right after this. All right, Jeff, we've been talking NCAA. The NCAA starts this weekend. Some games have started already, but the main games, the main teams play this weekend. We're going to look at some games that I think will be good to watch. The game of the week, you start off Saturday night, 6:30, ABC. You got number 2 Ohio State versus number 5 Notre Dame. You got a top 5 matchup right there off the bat to start the weekend. Fantastic matchup, and whatever team loses this matchup will be scrambling right away to get back into their good graces, because 1 or 2 losses in the NCAA could bring you down big time. So I honestly think that Ohio State's going to blow Notre Dame away. I don't think it'll be that close. I think Ohio State and CJ Stroud coming in here looking to potentially be the Heisman Trophy winner, showcasing his talent for the NFL scouts. I think they come in. I think they dominate Notre Dame. I would like to see a mix-up. I would like to see Notre Dame win and kind of right off the bat cause some mayhem right there in the standings. But I think Ohio State wins that one. But that should be a pretty good game, and I'm going to have that tuned in tomorrow evening. So,
yeah, I completely I agree with that as well. I think that Ohio State's going to be. It's pretty obvious. I mean, on paper, I'd like you too. I'd love to see Notre Dame mix it up and cause some problems. But realistically speaking, I'm going to go with Ohio State.
Look up their head coach. Who's their new head coach? Okay, it's a guy named Marcus Freeman. I haven't heard of him. I think he played in the NFL.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It'll be interesting to see. Notre Dame to me has always been that you usually have a defensive-minded team, and there was a team. It was a couple years ago, and they actually looked really good. And it was the year that they got blown out by Alabama. They looked really good going into it. They get blown up, but they just don't show up. But interesting to see. I think they come out a little lackluster there and probably lose that one. And Cincinnati last season, Jeff, finished number 4. They're ranked number 23 right now. They go into Arkansas number 19. Arkansas had a really good year last year. They kind shocked some people. I believe they finished in the top 15 last season. They had some NFL players scouted, and taken from them. I'm going to go with the upset. I got Cincinnati. They play with some confidence. They play. Their head coach has them pretty confident and pretty ready to go. From what we saw last year, they were a team we didn't want to face, and I got them winning that game. But
this seems like a neck and neck going on here.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
I think it'll be a good game.
This might be one of the games. It's funny because you look at the top teams like the Ohio State and Notre Dame, and
Right.
that game probably gonna, in my opinion, gonna be blowout. So there's other games like Cincinnati, Arkansas, and that could turn out to be really fantastic games. Number 11 Oregon travels to number 3 Georgia, and I think the chances of an upset are usually going to happen in the first couple of weeks. You got a team that comes out lackadaisical, comes out not completely ready, and you got a team that's hungry. Oregon Ducks, hungry team, number 11. I don't know where they finished last season, but I don't think it was that high. They're looking to get back on being a good football team. They just lost their best pass rusher in Thibodeau to the Giants. Got drafted by the Giants. They lost Herbert a couple of years ago. So see what they can prove. I'm surprised to rank that high. I think Georgia wins this game, but this could be one of those maybe an upset alert where we look at it and go, they came to show up and maybe Georgia didn't. So underestimate a little bit, but I think Georgia wins that one as well. And those are the 3 games that I kind of highlighted to keep an eye on this weekend for the college football schedule.
And let's see. So all Saturday, do we know what channels all these are on? Obviously, ABC's the Ohio Notre Dame. Do we know if is ESPN going to have?
Yes, they will. Let me look it up.
Yeah, because I'm just curious to let everybody know that way they can tune in as well. But yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It's the start. That's what what everybody's been waiting for all year is kind of when this is going to start. When we're going to start getting these teams in football running, and it all starts with the NCAA. So, just get ready, get prepared, get your wings.
Oh yeah, get that food ready. ABC at 2:30 is the Georgia Oregon. So you got that at 2:30. Right after that game will be the Ohio State Notre Dame on ABC, and then Cincinnati and Arkansas is on ESPN at 2:30 as well. So you can flip it back and forth.
Yep.
Between
or you could do picture in picture.
Picture in picture. I haven't done that on my TV yet. It's 85 inches. I need to figure that out. That's a good idea.
Picture in picture.
Picture in picture. That's a good idea. I wonder if you could do half and half. Can you do that?
That would be cool.
That would be sick. If you could do half and half, but
that'd be cool. And then you could switch the audio, wherever you could kind of flip back and forth.
Now I do have family coming over tomorrow. We'll get into that a little bit, but I'm definitely gonna have some football on when they're here.
No, you're not. They're not gonna want to watch that.
Oh, come on. Well, news today that came out, Jeff, the NCAA has voted unanimously to move to a 12-team playoff format as soon as 2026. Could be as soon as 2024. 4 teams was too low. I think 12 teams is too much. Can we not find a middle ground? Why 4 or 12? Like, why can't we not do 8? You know what I'm saying? And see where that goes. I don't think there's 12 teams good enough to compete with the
that sets up for teams that are going to get sideswiped the wrong place, the wrong time, and you're going to have a team come in there and just
you're going to have Alabama versus number 12 Oregon or
if the ball bounces the wrong way that day, Alabama loses.
Now I like it. I like the expansion.
I do too.
4 games is way too far.
It's way too low.
Teams is way too low.
Way too low.
I thought we'd go 8. I was like, okay, I could see 8. They're jumping straight to 12. We're not doing hey, let's go to 8 and see how it is. We're going straight to 12. And that to me is too much. I think you're going to have a lot of bowl games that are just blown out.
They want to give TCU a chance, Brian.
I guess. We could sneak in at 12. We could do that, but I just don't. I just think it's just too much. And let's look it up. Let's look up the standings last year and see
Who the
if we
top
think.
12?
Yeah.
Because so they're saying that this possibly 2026 and as soon as 2024. That's kind of interesting. Speaking of 2024, because we're gonna get a new NCAA college football game. So EA Sports College Football 24. I don't know. I mean, maybe not this coming season, this next game, but the one after, we may see a 12-team playoff in that, and that would be kind of cool. You see some online playoffs going on. So
I'm trying to find it. Sorry.
No problem.
That's this year, and last season. Dang it. Sorry, it took me a while to find this last time. I was like, "Dang it, why is it so hard to find?" I don't play Madden. So this is
So you're ready for
really.
college football.
Oh my gosh, I'm really ready for that freaking football game to come
Hopefully it's a good version and it's the same. It's like, hey, we're too much gonna stickers on everything. What is this? You slapped the code.
All right, Jeff. I finally found it here. The last team was Utah. You got Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State. Last year it would have been Georgia versus Utah round 1.
Whoa.
That's a massive blowout.
Okay.
Unless you're going to give the first 2 teams a bye, and then that would be 3 versus that would be Michigan. That's a blowout. Now look,
you're gonna have moments though. You're gonna have the moments. Where
you are.
Like, oh man, Georgia lost to who? What happened there?
It sets up for those Cinderella stories on those upsets, and
I think that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I think you get that mode where are there fans? Sure. Are they happy that their team has been whooping everybody's butt over the last 10 years? Yeah, great. Are there people that are like, okay, we're tired of this team, and maybe some people are just like not excited because like, oh, here we go, But maybe when you add these extra teams, you have this luck factor that something happens.
Yeah. Now, where'd you go, Jeff? Jeff has disappeared. Something happens and Jeff disappears off the screen. Oh man, his internet connection was a little fuzzy a while ago, but we're talking about the college football playoffs and it going to 12 teams, and like we said, 4 teams to me is too low. It doesn't give the teams the opportunity like Cincinnati last year. It doesn't give them the opportunity that they need to make it in and prove that they made it in. But I think 12 is way better than 4. And there he is. Jeff, you said something happens, and right when you said that, you disappeared. I was like, what?
So it's Saban. He's after me.
Saban's, talking crap on Saban over there.
So no, it's basically just like any little thing, tweak, what's wrong, higher, lose to a team that you.
It does, and 12 will be better more entertaining than 4, in my opinion. Jeff, you're sounding like a robot. I don't know what it is. Your internet connection is usually fine. You want to try closing? Oh, you want to try closing out and logging in there? Refresh that.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, the technical difficulties. Craig's had that happen too on him sometimes. I don't know. My internet really doesn't do that, but I have AT&T. I don't know if that's because of that or what, but 12 teams will be better than 4, right? It gives those teams that feel like they earned a spot in. You're going to see some teams that don't deserve to be in, but I'd rather have it that than some teams that, like Cincinnati last year, keep bringing them up. They went undefeated. I believe they went undefeated, and they didn't make it. And they felt like they should have. They deserved to make it. So we'll see what happens there. Excuse me. Our next headline is the NBA. We've had it's really not that time of year to be talking NBA, and I get that, but we had a blockbuster trade that went down on the NBA the other season, the other day, and me and Craig called it. The Utah Jazz has traded Donovan Mitchell to the Cavaliers. We called it that Donovan Mitchell would be traded. They traded away Rudy Gobert. That was their second best player. And they were in a rebuild. And I said it makes no sense for them to keep Donovan Mitchell. No sense whatsoever. And they said we're going to keep him and build around him. Well, they traded him to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they got a massive haul for him. They've got Lauri Markkanen. I don't even know how to pronounce this other guy's name. He's a rookie. Ocha Agbaji, Colin Sexton. Cleveland's first-round picks in 25, 27, and 29, as well as pick swaps in 26 and 28. They got 5 draft picks, 3 players. Insane haul for Donovan Mitchell. Good for the Utah Jazz. Good kudos for them. I was looking at their numbers, and Markkanen, he averaged 14 points per game last year. He shot 35% from 3-point range. College stats for Ochi was 18.8 points per game and 5 rebounds. That was in his college senior year. So, we'll see what he can do in the NBA. He'll probably be a 12 to 14. It might drop off a little bit. It might go up, but we'll see. Colin Sexton had 16 points per game and shot 24% from 3-point range. So not a great shooter from 3-point range last season. And you match all those up with Mitchell, who had 29 points per game and shot 35% from 3-point range. So you're getting all that back. You got all the picks back. And I always ask who won the trade. And you've got to get into the mindset of these teams and where they're headed and kind of which direction they're going. And the Cavaliers last season, they surprised a lot of people. They played well. They were up and coming. You're like, man, this team has surprised us. We did not think they would be here right now, and they were. So that is kudos for them for trading these guys away and getting a star. Is Donovan Mitchell a superstar? No. He's a good number 2, in my opinion. He's a good number 2 with the ability to take over a game if he needs to and dominate a game if he needs to. Hey, Jeff, welcome back, buddy.
What's up?
I don't know what that was. Craig has his problems sometimes, but I don't know what it is. But I was talking about. We're talking about the Donovan Mitchell trade of the Cleveland Cavaliers now, and kind of I went over what the Cavaliers got or what Utah got, and Cavaliers got Donovan Mitchell, and the Jazz got 3 players and 5 draft picks. They got a first-round draft pick in 25, 27, 29, and then they got pick swaps as well in 26 and 28. And then they get 3 guys, and I went over the numbers. And Mitchell was 29. He scored 29 points per game last season, average, and shot 35% from 3-point range. And the other guy's not too bad. Colin Sexton was a little injured last year, but he averaged 16 points per game, 24% from 3-point range, not very good. But then Lauri Markkanen shot 35% from 3-point range and averaged 14 points. And then that third guy, they got was a rookie in his college days. He had his senior year, he had 18 points per game. So we'll see if he plays, because if he comes out and turns into somebody, then that's good for them. But I always like to ask who won the trade. And I was kind of trying to get in the mindset of where these teams are headed. And like I was talking about, Cleveland last year kind of came out of nowhere. No one expected him to win. And then obviously they didn't win the championship. I'm not saying that, but they over exceeded expectations. And this is like, oh wow, this is an up and young young up and coming team. This is a team that after LeBron decimated this team, they built it back up. This is kind of where they're headed. So I think it's a great starting five they got. You had Donovan Mitchell in there. And my question to you right off the bat is, what do you think? Did you disappear on me again? There we go. Oh, what is going on?
I don't know.
My question to you is, what kind of who do you like Donovan Mitchell? What do you think he's a superstar, a star, or just a good player? I mean, where do you put him on that level?
Hopefully it works. Do I sound? Oh, dear, my bars are going down.
You sound good.
Okay. Personally, I think that this is a bad idea for the Cavs.
Okay, interesting.
Not because Donovan Mitchell's not good. I just think that I don't see Donovan Mitchell staying in Cleveland. I just don't. They gave up a lot of pieces to try to get him, and I just have a feeling that Donovan Mitchell's going to go somewhere else. So they've got him for a couple years at least. I don't think that the whole Kevin Durant thing screwed the entire free agency up. The whole thing just completely screwed it up. And now it's like people are going to be overcharging for players it's just impossible now. So I think it's a great trade for Cleveland right now. But do I see Donovan Mitchell staying in Cleveland? I doubt it, unless they bring somebody else in.
I think they're going to have to ask him, who do you want to play with? And bring in somebody else in. So to me, this was
LeBron.
This is a win now move, but they're not ready to win now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah, they had a year where they overachieved, and that's great. Let's see that consistency. Let's see this team chemistry build. Let's see this head coach do it again. I'm not saying they're not going to be a good team next year, but I'm just saying let's see some more. Adding Donovan Mitchell is definitely an upgrade. I think Donovan Mitchell's a star. He's not a superstar. He's not on Kevin Durant's level or players like that. He's a number two in my opinion, a fantastic number two with the ability to take over a game if needed. He has taken over some Utah Jazz games where he goes off for 30, 45 points a game and he just goes ham.
They got a lot of stacked pieces now in Utah. They have a lot of pieces to play with when it comes to draft picks, young players. They've got
it's total rebuild.
And I think I don't think it's gonna be rebuild for long if they nail some of these free agent picks.
Yeah, that's the point. And the problem with Utah is no one wants to go to Utah, right? They want to go.
You
to
didn't
Utah
even want to go.
Yeah, Utah's a very pretty place to live, but that's the problem. They want to go there as much as they want to come to Dallas. They don't come to Dallas, right? So that's their only issue. I think they run into. They have a lot of picks. They have a lot of capital to rebuild this program. And me and Craig were talking about this a long time ago. When they traded Rudy Gobert, I called it. I said, Donovan Mitchell's next. There's no point of holding. But you can't have half your foot in and half your foot out of a rebuild. I'm in a rebuild, but I want to hang on to the star. It doesn't work. Ask the Texas Rangers. They've been rebuilding for 7 years. It does not work. All right. It made no sense for them to trade away Rudy Gobert and keep Donovan Mitchell. They said, we're going to keep him. We're going to build around him. We're going to keep him. We're going to build around him. And we knew it was a lie. This was kind of a shocking trade. He went there. They're sending him to Cleveland. Who thought Cleveland was going to trade for him? But they got a haul, and it's a good way to start rebuilding your team there for Utah. And I think it's hard for me to say who won this trade right off the bat because I think it's a good trade for both teams. Utah gets its capital to start that rebuild, and Donovan Mitchell adds to a team that is an up-and-coming team in the East. I think it's a win for both. If he stays.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need to nail him down for another X years. Like, I just think that if you can't do that, this was a waste of time. Utah got some stuff out of it, But Cleveland, I could see getting.
I think you got to prove
stumped
to
on this
him
one.
that you're going to be able to get somebody else.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest part is, all right, well, maybe they add a piece in the offseason next year.
I mean, think
Maybe
about
they
it.
trade some for someone before
The
the
history
trade
of this
deadline.
team is not great
No.
in terms of winning. And the
Without
only
LeBron, they're
time
nobody.
they had a winning anything was LeBron James on the team. Well, is Donovan Mitchell LeBron James? No. So it's like we're so yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. I don't believe this was a great idea, but we'll see. I would have seen it be a little bit more of an understanding if he had gone to, let's say, Portland, or something interesting like that. Him teaming up with Dame Time.
Chicago.
Or Chicago,
fantastic with him,
even
with
Miami, something like that where these guys are built to go. They just need that extra piece, and heck, even Dallas, that would have been interesting. But it's going to Cleveland. I don't know. It's not exciting. It's not an exciting pick. It's not even exciting for Cleveland. For Cleveland, I don't think, because it's just like, what does this mean? I mean, we got a guy who can play.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got to come out and show that they're going to, hey, we're going to go all in. This is what we're playing is next, and this is kind of what we're going after, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they trade for Kevin Durant.
God.
Oh man. Speaking of Kevin Durant, before we get off this Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets, did you hear? There's been beef between Steve Nash and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and the Kevin Durant saying, "I don't trust the organization, fire the head coach, and GM, or get rid of me." Which I don't know how you walk back into the locker room and walk back in there and act like you respect these guys that you came out and said you didn't. Did you hear the remarks that Kyrie Irving told Steve Nash?
No.
Apparently, I don't know if he went to dinner at Steve Nash's house, but Kyrie Irving told him to his face, "I wanted to come see the MVPs you stole from Kobe. You should give those back because you don't deserve them." How are you going to get along? I'm like, dude, get that. What kind of disrespectful piece of crap is that? And Kyrie Irving's crazy, so I mean,
we've reported on his craziness a few times on this show.
It wouldn't surprise me. That's insane. That's asinine.
I would leave. Honestly, if I was him, I would just leave the situation. If I was Nash, I would be like, I'm out of here.
I'd be like, I didn't sign up for this.
I did not sign up for some circus mess. You can have Kevin Durant coach the team. Good luck.
I don't know why he's putting up with it.
I wouldn't. I mean, his career, but I mean, what is that? Like, honestly, I think any coach would look at that situation and go, I'm glad I'm not there. Like, God. Who the heck wants to be there?
Yeah, what an asinine statement. Just, yeah. And I'm the biggest Kobe Bryant fan, and that's just an asinine statement. And I'm not saying Kobe Bryant may not deserve, but to sit here and tell a guy you didn't earn these, like, get out of here, bro. Did you not watch Steve Nash's career? Did you not watch how good he was? Insane.
And he got banged around a bunch of times.
Oh, he got beat up.
Especially towards the end, he was getting knocked in the nose and hit in the face, and like.
Biggest regret was for the Mavericks is letting him go.
Biggest regret for him is walking away. Like, that was a big problem too. He decided to do that too. And it's like, dude,
it was.
You could have won so many championships, man. God.
Well,
dang.
I mean, they did really good in Phoenix, but they couldn't get past Kobe. That's that. Every time Kobe and Phoenix stepped up, the Lakers always won. Those were some fantastic. When I knew the Lakers were playing the Suns in the playoffs back in the day with Kobe, I knew it was going 7 or 6. I knew it was a slobber knocker. Those games, those playoff matches were insanely good. But now Steve Nash is a fantastic basketball player.
Oh gosh, come on! He's a great player.
Let's jump over to the NFL and. Yes, it's almost here, Jeff. Tennessee Titans have some bad news, Jeff. Their leading pass rusher, Harold Landry, tore his ACL in practice and will miss the whole season. He led the league. He led their team last year in pass rushing. He's an absolute beast, and he's a underrated player, right? You're probably thinking, who the hell is Harold Landry? But they love him there in Tennessee, and they're going to miss him. And this is a team to me that I don't really trust, and probably never will with Tannehill as their quarterback, and I like their head coach. I actually have the Titans missing the playoffs this year, Jeff. I think they fall this season. But this is going to go a big part in that. Is that the defense is going to be pretty good, but without Harold Landry, they got a big hole to fill.
Yeah, I don't know depth-wise where they're at, but hopefully, I mean, that's a, hopefully they have somebody in there that they've picked up that might just kind of be a diamond in the rough kind of situation. But we'll see. We'll see. That's I can't stand that because that's just a bad, especially before the season starts. Like, hey, if you're like mid-season or whatever, it's like, okay, that's horrible too. But at least, you got some playing time in, and you actually got to do some production
Right.
on the field. But
we're a week away from starting.
Practice is ridiculous. It just is one of those weird things, man. I don't know what causes all that, but Broncos seem to be a magnet to that kind of thing. That sucks, but hopefully he'll be back before this next season, which is good because sometimes when it's like a whole season like that, the problem you run into is like, oh, this is going to bleed into the next season. How many
like
actual
Odell.
games?
I mean, Odell tore his ACL in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like,
exactly.
when is he coming back? October,
Yeah. So at least, I mean, it sucks that it's happened, but at least you get him for the whole season next season. He'll have plenty of time to recover. Goodness.
Yeah. I hate to see injuries like that, and injuries injuries just in practice or before the season starts. You're like, I'm getting ready to see this guy go out on the field, and then it ends, and I can only believe how much he feels in that as well. But all right, Jeff, let's talk about your quarterback. All right, Russell Wilson and the Broncos agreed to a 5-year, $245 million contract extension with $165 million guaranteed. Was he overpaid, underpaid, or just about right, Jeff? What do you think? I got some buddies that said he's overpaid. I want to know what you think, and then I'll tell you what I think at the end of it. So let me know. Overpaid, underpaid. Where do you sit where your quarterback?
Sounds about right to me. And I say it sounds about right because here's why. Okay. There's a little something that happened in the ownership department that I go, interesting. So money's not a problem anymore, is it? It doesn't seem like it's a problem anymore. So I look at it and I go, you know what? Guarantee him whatever you want. We have an owner who's worth $7 billion. No, 70 billion? Something like that. Something insane. I think it's 70 billion. $70 billion this dude is worth. Give him guaranteed whatever. I don't care. I mean, if you take a look at what that looks like, right? If you kind of get an idea of what that might look like, just take a look at the Rams situation. An ungodly amount of money pumped into that team, and look what they get, right? They get players, they bring in people, they pay however much they need to pay to do it, and that's the thing. And some of it's guaranteed money. And I had a feeling we would sign him to a deal. Frankly, is it over or under? I don't really care. I think it's just about right because it's about what I thought they would do. I thought they would definitely get an extension. I thought the guaranteed money would be high because of the ownership that we just got. I had a feeling we were going to wait until we had figured out the ownership situation. That's done. We already know who owns the team. They basically said, okay, now it's time to write the checks. And they're doing it.
Well, Jeff, he took a discount, okay, and guaranteed money. He's number 3. He could have said, hey, I'm better than Deshaun Watson. I'm better than Kyle Murray. Deshaun Watson has $230 million guaranteed. Kyle Murray has 189.5, and then you got Russell Wilson at 165, and then Aaron Rodgers at 150 with guaranteed money. And I think that's what these players are going towards. Give me the most guaranteed. I don't care about how much you give me per year. Aaron Rodgers has 50. Russell Wilson has 49 or 40. It's 49 million guaranteed. Right. Deshaun Watson's at number 4 at 46.
Yeah.
I think this is just right, Jeff. I'm agree with you. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you why. He's coming off his worst season as a football player. Okay? There's no debating that. You can go look up his stats.
I think he was also an injured. He was injured last year. First time in his career. But
yeah, I think he missed. Did he miss a couple games?
He missed some games last year. First time ever.
But I'm going to tell you why. Because Pete Carroll's an absolute boob. Okay? I can't stand the guy. I think he lucked his way into a Super Bowl. I think he lucked his way into his team drafting great defensive players. I'm going to play good defense, which is fine. I'm going to run the ball, which is not that great. And then I'm going to have Russell Wilson throw it every now and then. He held Russell Wilson back, in my opinion. Last year, they didn't really have a good team around him. Their offensive line wasn't good. They had 2 decent wide receivers. Metcalf would turn out to be really good, and you got Lockett, but their defense is garbage. They play in the toughest division last season. Now that's transferred over to you guys, but I think Russell Wilson is going to be back to his elite self. And Russell Wilson, when he was playing a couple years ago, was the elite quarterback. I think he will get back there with Denver. I think they've got the perfect pieces fit around him. And I think it's only a matter of time until the Broncos start competing. And I wanted to project them to I've actually projected them to go to the playoffs this season. I wanted to project them to win that division. I believe so much in Russell Wilson. And my buddy was like, well, he's overpaid. And my other buddy goes, does he have 5 more years left? He's not old. He's like 30. He's like, what, 33?
He's 33, yeah.
I'm like, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers are both. Tom Brady's 48 or 50, right? I mean, come on, Aaron Rodgers, and the type of way that Russell Wilson moves in the pocket, he doesn't take big hits. He's able to move out of the pocket,
right,
and get away from pressure, and he knows when to slide. He's smart about his decisions, and he plays in a time where quarterbacks are the most protected. He has 5 or 6 more years left in the tank. I guarantee you that, and then. I think he's going to be back to his elite self. And when you play, scratch last season, Jeff. He threw for over 4,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns every year. You can't beat that. That's good.
And so here's another tidbit of, and we can kind of dive into this a little bit because it involves quarterbacks. Tom Brady. Why do people think Tom Brady left New England? Because he hated winning. He hated
Bill Belichick.
What did he Bill Belichick? Well, there's some actual proof of some people who have said that they kind of have an idea of what happened. Tom Brady has a very, very strict regimen. Whether it's his trainer, his chef, his nutritionist, his doctor, his whatever, and he has an extremely strict regimen that he follows that keeps him in that shape to play till he's 40, whatever the heck.
Yeah.
So with that being said, when people started noticing that was working for him, nobody wanted to use the Patriots doctors. Nobody wanted to use the Patriots nutritionists. They wanted to use Tom's. Created a problem. So they started saying, you can't use this, you can't use that. And that's, I think, one of the reasons Tom Brady left, because he's like, I got my guys. That's it. Oh, yeah. And the only reason that I'm able to play for this long is because of those guys. So if you don't want me, I'll go somewhere where they allow me to do that. Well, let's go ahead and go into the dangerous situation, right? So let's go into that, to where similar rumors started coming around about the same kind of thing that was going on in Seattle, where it was like he was using these things. He was trying to use that to maintain health, maintain stability. That's one of the reasons why last season was the first real season he got hurt and missed games. That's saying a lot. it seems also, but besides the whole thing that we know Pete Carroll does what he does and whatever, I think also there is something to that. And I think when he came to Denver, Denver said, you can have whoever you want. We don't care. We're not going to hold that back. Well, look what we did with Peyton Manning. We didn't hold him back. He brought in whoever he wanted to, all the specialists he wanted and trusted. We didn't hold back. We didn't say you have to use our guys. And so if that starts, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why you'll see a difference here. Because it's already started. He's got his guys, he's got his nutritionist, he's got his medical team that he trusts, and that's it. And I don't think the Broncos are going to step on any toes there. And I think they see something, because they wouldn't have signed an extra 5 years if they weren't quite sure.
You can't trade for this guy and then not sign him to a long-term extension.
But also
asinine in itself.
But also you obviously see something.
Oh yeah. So
you see there is something there that is not pulling the wool over our eyes, or, whatever. So it's not like, to sit there and say a 33-year-old is like washed. Like, really? I mean, come on now. That's insane.
No,
that's a little crazy.
I believe that Russell Wilson, it may not be year one, right? He's got to learn the new chemistry, and it might be year one.
It might be.
I believe it gets back to his elite self. And at one time, Russell Wilson was always in the talks of being a top 3 quarterback.
Right.
Every single year. And I believe he brings that leadership. He brings that, it's not, I wouldn't say like Tom Brady went to Tampa and he brought, this is our standard. We're going to hold ourselves to a certain standard. Yeah. And that's what it takes to win. Aaron Rodgers holds it in Green Bay. Now we haven't won championships, but he comes out and calls out his players. And he called out his wide receiver group, and they asked Randall Cobb about it. Randall Cobb said, I don't care if they like it. This is the standard we're held to. And if you don't want to be held to the standard and you can't live up to that standard, we'll find somebody else. That's the same thing. Russell Wilson's bringing that. He's bringing, he knows he's won before. He's been to the big game twice. He knows what it takes. He knows the dedication and the leadership. And yes, and look, this is by far the best offseason move in the NFL. And your team is built to win now, and they're missing a quarterback. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited. I can only imagine what you Bronco fans are feeling right now, man.
So they asked some of the players, by the way, like, what do you think about the deal? What do you think about it? And every one of them said he deserves that. Like, this dude's been doing this stuff in the NFL for a while, and he's still young. He still has a lot more in the tank. And what we're gonna say, he doesn't deserve a contract? Of course he does. He's put his life on the line in an organization that just kept wanting to run the ball constantly, and then got injured when they started trying to do, when they started falling apart offensive line wise. And, it still kind of played. Even I think he still played for a few games after he was hurt. So, I mean, it's,
and he's a good guy too. You're never going to hear anything in the news about him being, doing stupid stuff, putting himself in stupid situations. And it's going to pay out well for the Broncos. And I think in those 5 years, you win a championship.
I think so too. I hope so.
That is, I don't want to guarantee it, but that's pretty much written in stone.
Right.
So you know what, this is pretty interesting because the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, Jeff, and their contract talks. Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. He's representing himself. Okay, he has no agent.
Oh.
And he's given him till game one. When game one ends or starts, no more contract talk the rest of the season. He wants to be focused, which I get that, understand that, no problem. I think the issue, and some of rumors have slipped out that we just talked about it. The guaranteed money is where it's at, and he wants guaranteed money, a lot of it. And the rumor is that the Ravens don't feel comfortable paying a quarterback with his playing style all that guaranteed money because he can get hurt. Anybody can get hurt, but the way he plays, the way he runs.
Pretty sure he got hurt last year, didn't he? So,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and which is understandable. The Russell Wilson contract actually hurts Lamar Jackson. Owners are going, thank God for the Denver Broncos because the guaranteed money, he took a discount.
Yeah.
It's that, right? The quarterbacks, it's that next man up mentality. I'm the next person. That's his contract. I need to jump it. That's the way it's been. It's been leapfrog.
Right.
And the Cleveland Browns came out here and paid a sexual predator $230 million guaranteed and blew it away. Okay. And everyone was going, what in the hell, Cleveland? You are a freaking idiot. So
Donovan Mitchell's going to be the quarterback, Brian. All right. That's why.
When they come out and they give Russell Wilson, who's better than Deshaun Watson, who's better than Kyle Murray, who just got $189.5 million guaranteed. When they come out and give him that money, they're going, oh, he could go, okay, great. Because now they can go, are you better than Russell Wilson? I don't think so. So you can't ask for this much guaranteed.
Just wait for Zeke's guaranteed money. And sign track.
I got news for Dallas Cowboys and their fans. Zeke Elliott, this is his last year in Dallas.
No.
This is it. They can get out. Zeke. They can get out this season. After this season with no penalties. They're gone. They got to.
So now will we finally at the end of the season we can finally say Zeke's full. Zeke is full.
Well,
guys.
Look, Jerry Jones wants you to buy that their team's offense runs through Zeke. And I texted my buddy Ryan the other day. I go, that's kind of interesting. Let's see. We just paid our quarterback $40 million a year, but our offense runs through our running back. What kind of sense does that make, Jeff?
He's Emmett.
What kind of sense does I said, Ryan, are you okay with that? And he's like, well, we're the 7th best rushing attack in the league last year. I said Zeke averaged 58 yards a game last year. That's not good. That is not good. You got offensive line questions. I'm telling you. If Jerry Jones actually wants to, and some Cowboy fans believe everything he spits out, wants them to believe that their offense runs through the running back, the Cowboys are for some trouble on the offensive side next season. Defense, I think they're going to be good. Offense, you better hope Dak's ready to throw the ball, because if it's run, and you're counting on Zeke, you might as well say your prayers, because I don't think it's going to go very well for you.
Oh, and I got one complaint, just one. I don't think Patrick Surtain was on the top 100, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Something's a problem. There's a little bit of problem there.
But
personal opinion. Oh, hey, but we're going to put Diggs on there. Oh, no,
number 24.
Yeah. Okay, here's the deal. I'll say this much. I'll say this for Cowboy fans. I'm going to say this one thing, and this one thing only. The way to beat Diggs, double move, beats him every time. That's why he was getting burned in freaking training camp.
Oh, yeah.
Double move him. Ooh. And then he'll just sit there and fall on the floor. He can't catch up. Like, that's how Denver beat him. That's exactly how they beat him. Double move every single time, and he completely couldn't catch up. So, I mean, this person who is supposedly the greatest cornerback in the history of Cowboys, because he had a streak of interceptions, he gets beat easily. Like, it's just crazy how easy this person can get beat on a double move, because he's sitting there being too aggressive.
He got beat by backup tight ends in training camp.
That's crazy.
I did a top 5, my top 5 predictions for the year or whatever, my 5 kind of bold hot takes, what do you want to call them? And one of those was, sorry, Cowboys fans, but Diggs will not be that good this year, and you're gonna start to go, where's all the interceptions? Interceptions is not a stat you can count on year to year.
No.
Period.
Patrick Surtain is amazing cornerback, because not only has he gotten a couple interceptions last year, yeah, but you know what he does? He breaks passes up. He breaks passes up. He locks guys every time.
You don't throw to him.
No. Nobody wants to.
See, everyone wants the flashy interception, which I understand, right? Look how many interceptions. You go look at Richard Sherman. He didn't have a lot of stats because no one threw the damn ball. No one threw the ball at him. That's what you want. Jay Alexander, Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Surtain. Those are lockdown corners. You're not throwing the ball their way, and if you do, it's going to be a mistake.
And
Period.
I'm sorry, Cowboy fans. You wanted Patrick Surtain. You wanted him so bad, but you didn't.
They'll sit there and say, we
Get
didn't
him.
want him. We wanted. Now, the guy they got is an absolute beast,
Right.
and he's going to be one hell of a person to stop.
Right.
But look, Patrick Surtain's a beast. He's
But
going to
we
be
live in a
lockdown.
league of passing.
Yeah.
We live in a passing league.
Well,
I get it. Having a pass rush is fine. I get that. And that's a big deal. And Micah Parsons is a great player. But I'm going to tell you something. We're in a league where people are going to be slinging that ball all day.
See, and
long.
I think the logic is backwards. A lot of NFL teams, they build their team for pass rush and then secondary. I think a smart way to do it is you build the secondary and then you build your pass rush. Denver Broncos. And Green Bay has a pass rush, but we have Jeff. I'm excited about this defense. I think we, at the end of the year, will have the best secondary in the whole entire NFL. We've got players out the wazoo in our secondary. Fantastic. Even Aaron Rodgers is calling out this defense, saying how good they look. Fantastic. Our defense, I'm excited. This is the first year I go in the year and go, I'm excited to see this defense over their offense.
Even Aaron Rodgers is going to be a pass rusher.
Hey, he's been on those hallucinogens.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Did you
Aaron
hear
Rodgers on the field? What the hell's going on here?
what's going on? But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Diggs is trash. I'm just saying
I just don't think he's
right
as
now.
high as that. My God, he was ranked so high, and I'm going, really? Really? Of all the players collectively,
You've
like,
got to
that's a bit.
You've got to take this with a grain of salt because these are also players voting on this list.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And it's more of could be more of a popularity contest than anything. Patrick Surtain will be on the list next season. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, how is Aaron Rodgers not number one over Brady? Because he was MVP 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Like, where was he ranked?
Number 3, behind Aaron Donald.
Okay.
I mean, I take him number 1. Back-to-back MVPs. Crazy. Well, all right, Jeff. It is that time.
Ugh.
It is that time for what's in your locker, my friend. What's been going on?
Just doing work stuff as usual. Been taking care of our cat. My wife's been helping definitely a lot during the week, taking care of our cat. He's just, he had a eye problem. We had to have surgery on it, and so we've just been busy with that. He's getting better every day, so it's good. Just watched some more Game of Thrones last Sunday, so an extra episode there, and then watched 2 of the premiere episodes of Lord of the Rings yesterday. Great. It's pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed that. And what else have I done?
Was it good?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
That's one.
It's a lot of so it's it jumps around, but I think they're just setting it up. But so it's gonna be you're gonna get kind of
a
bombarded.
prequel.
It's a prequel. So this is before the rings were made.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And it's kind of cool. So they're have multiple entries, I think, in this whole thing, but it's kind of cool because you get to see some characters that were from the original movies that are younger, obviously, and early in their journey. But one of the things that I find fascinating about the show is the set pieces are absolutely stunning. It's a visual masterpiece in terms of fantasy writing, in terms of fantasy imagery. So it's cool. It's not, you don't have to worry about, it's not like Game of Thrones. This is going to be like something you couldn't actually watch. You could watch with your kids. It's a great. I think it's PG-13, but I mean, for the most part, it's there's not anything. It's orcs, so they're fighting orcs. It's not like it's crazy stuff going on that they wouldn't see in like Harry Potter or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's a great kind of entry into the Tolkien world for kids and people who have also maybe not have paid attention or watched the movies or something like that. It doesn't matter because it's a prequel, so you don't have to worry about that. Same thing with the Game of Thrones stuff. You don't have to worry about that either because it's a prequel. But other than that, I think work has a fantasy football thing that I'm in. So next Tuesday is a draft. So I will probably figure out what I'm going to do with that and figure out, who am I going to pick or whatever. Obviously, I think I want to pick Russ, for sure, and Patrick Surtain. but yeah, like I'm just trying to figure out, when it comes to like my cast stuff, and glad for the weekend because it's just like it's been crazy. I might actually play some. I've been playing some Far Cry 6. A little more. Been laughing because I've just been creating chaos with fire. Just setting things afire with the flamethrower and just watching things just burn. Because Far Cry is just a crazy game like that, and it's fun. It's fun to just mess around in that world. But yeah, other than that, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the season. It really bothers me that we're playing freaking Monday night, and I'm like,
I hate
I
that.
can't. That's so ridiculous. And then I think I was talking to somebody at work, and I'm like, "Who's playing Sunday night?" And it was like Cowboys. I'm like, "Come on,
Cowboys.
man!"
Yep.
God.
Green Bay's second game of the season. We play the Bears on Sunday night. I'm like, God. First of all, the Bears are garbage. Well, I don't know why they're on any national television. But I hate when they do that because I get up at 1:40 in the morning to go to work, and I'm like, it sucks.
I mean, my question is on the one thing on that. Why does a team who hasn't had success in nearly 30 years get Sunday night football against Tom Brady? You couldn't have put somebody else in there. You couldn't have put.
Oh, I mean, they are the most. They are the.
But
I don't know, Jeff. They're the most popular sports team in the world. So,
but if you go by fan base stuff, right? I mean, if you go by fan base, there are hundreds of millions of fans of other teams, right? So they have their fans go even into Europe. Like I mean, so the Cowboys. I mean, they were on Hard Knocks. I guess forget they were on Hard Knocks at one point. So yet they get the primetime game, right? The very start of the season.
Well, the NFL knows people are going to turn in for that. I don't know, Jeff. It's mind-boggling to me too how the Cowboys get so many.
It couldn't have been Green Bay and Tampa. It couldn't have been, teams that have had some success in the playoffs against Tampa, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems a little. It's just constant. I'm like,
well, that's weird. Is that it was their first game of the year last year. Cowboys played Tampa in Tampa Bay. Now it's in Dallas.
But interesting. It's a Super Bowl match, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Maybe on Madden.
God, yeah.
Well,
what's in your locker, dude?
My locker has been. I've been just working my butt off, getting my job done. It's been fun in the rain. I hate the rain with a passion, Jeff. I hate it. I'd rather be 110 or be snowing. I hate the rain. I've been working out in that. It's been fun. It's supposed to rain all next week. But I've been playing Call of Duty, Vanguard, been getting really into that lately, and then waiting for the new Call of Duty to come out. That's going to be fantastic. All these sports documentaries are coming out, Jeff. We got Manti Te'o's story. Go watch that. I watched that last week. It's pretty good. And crazy story. They've got one on Tim Donaghy and the betting in the NBA. I'm going to watch that one. They're coming out with quite a few of these, and we're getting ready, Jeff, for we're getting I think they're called Untold, what they are. They're little sports documentaries. The untold story of the 2008 Florida Gators that had Aaron Hernandez, Tim Tebow, and guys like that on it with Urban Meyer as their head coach. So we're gonna get a behind the scenes type of look at that team, which everyone wants. That's being made. So we're getting a lot of these cool things. So look forward to those things coming out. I can't wait to watch the Lord of the Rings show. That's gonna be fantastic. And we're both of us are looking forward to the Uncharted show, not Uncharted, Last of Us show. That's gonna be fantastic as well. So we got some things coming up. Let's see. I get to go on a week. My job is sending me a week in October to do a driver training class, and they picked me out of the drivers to go. So in October, I'll get a paid little time to go to Houston, stay in a hotel for a week, and our company is putting out a whole new way to train people, and basically I got to go learn it and come back and kind of teach it, I guess, or to the team. But that's going to be pretty cool. Just a week away, kind of get out of the house, and kids are in school. We already got their Halloween costumes. we went ahead and bought those, so we're looking forward to that. And I'm an uncle again today. My brother-in-law, David, and Haley had their baby today. So congratulations to them. That's kid number 7?
Whoa.
Or no, 6 or 7. I can't remember.
Whoa.
That's like the 29th or 30th grandchild. Okay.
Whoa.
Luke, their oldest son just came back from military boot camp, so we're throwing a party. They just actually moved out of their house, and we're actually holding a party over here tomorrow for them. So Saturday will be fun.
So wait, 6 or 7, Brian? You gotta catch up.
I know.
You're like, oh my god.
This is 6.
Oh my.
But so yeah, she has a huge family, and it's still growing too. But I'm just looking forward to football, man. Football. Saturday will be college football. I'll be able to watch 2 games of that. Sorry, my phone was vibrating. I'll be able to watch at least 2 games there, and maybe 3 if I get the picture in on there. And then we got NFL the weekend after. And the weekend after, that Saturday, I will be going to Waco with my wife and kids and Amber, and we're all going down to Waco to do some things. Just take a little mini weekend trip. It'll just be a 1-day trip. We're driving down to Waco on Saturday. We're going to go to the zoo. We're going to go to it's a macaroni. It's a macaroni bar, Jeff, where they make macaroni, and then they have all these toppings you can put on it, brisket and all hamburger, whatever you want to put on it. And it's so that's going to be nice. And then we're going to go to the Dr. Pepper Museum's down there, and just to kind of get away. Visit Baylor, yeah.
Get your girls ready to go to Baylor. You're like, oh my gosh,
that's a long way from home. But other than that, that's what I've been up to, man. That's pretty much about it. I'm trying to think of what other show I've been watching. We've been rewatching Parks and Rec. That's it, man. That's it. Oh, by the way, jump back on here real quick, video wise.
Oh.
Are you? Oh, I don't see you on the. There you go. Are you going to be in the Survivor game again this year? You did it last year. Are you going to be in it again?
I don't know.
You don't know. I need to know before the season starts, or
you haven't started yet.
I know. It's close though. But
I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm doing the Survivor League this year. It's gonna be fun. We did it last year. I won it last year, but we'll see. It's a fun little game.
You said you were playing Call of Duty, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there's all this supply going on with Microsoft and the regulators in Europe not agreeing with the sale of Activision. It's kind of like people are getting upset. A lot of Xbox people are getting upset. They're like, what is going on? Sony's paid them. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Like there's a bunch of it's gonna be a process before that's a done deal. And their whole thing is we're not gonna remove Call of Duty from platforms. So I'm like, I don't know. But there's some people that don't trust them handling Call of Duty.
Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust Xbox with the damn thing, but they better not take Call of Duty. Wait, they'd be losing out on money.
Look what they did to Halo. Halo has had, think about this, Brian, in a year's time, they've had 4 maps, maybe 2. In a year's time, they've had hardly any, like, there's been features that they promised that they completely scrapped. They were like, oh, no, sorry, we just didn't have enough time to do that. And I'm like, see,
Xbox is crap.
They can't even handle Halo, man.
There's no way they can handle it.
Imagine Call of Duty under that kind of management?
Why didn't Activision sell to? Why did they sell out to? Oh well, yeah.
I mean, come on, really?
The PlayStation not want to buy them? I mean,
I don't think they had the kind of money to do that. It's crazy. It'll be interesting because they can't even handle Halo, which is their marquee franchise. That's what sold the original Xbox.
That thing's been freaking out since I was in middle school.
But it's supposed to be infinite, a 10-year project. There was going to be no more Halo games, Brian.
Because it takes them 10 years to
have been waiting almost a whole year for any kind of content drop. A year? That's crazy, dude. I could not imagine. I would love to see Microsoft actually like continue trying to put more content into Call of Duty. It'll be amazing. I wonder how that looks. Oh, sorry. This Call of Duty is going to be Call of Duty Infinite. This is a 10-year project. Oh my god.
Yeah, 10-year project.
Oh no. Yeah, they promised couch co-op. Gone. They just announced yesterday. They were like, "Oh, we're not going to do couch co-op." And they're like, "You promised it when you first announced the whole thing." It's like, no. They have 10 people. Think about this. There are literally 10 people working on Halo Infinite content. That's it. 10 people for a live service game.
They sound like a politician. A lot of unanswered promises.
It's the name. It's all it is. It's the name.
All it is.
Oh, Halo? Whoa, slap Halo on it. It'll sell for a week. Okay. That's all they care about. It's funny.
Well, all right, guys. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Outspoken Sportscast here. 149. We talked a lot about college football as it starts this weekend. We covered a lot of headlines and, of course, what's in our locker. Guys, feel free to reach out, share the show, whatever you may be. We're on every social podcast or every social media platform. We're on every podcast platform, and we live stream to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I had to take us off Twitch, Jeff, because I was streaming to some game thing, and some guy was blowing me up a couple weeks ago. Why are you on this? This isn't what this is for. Oh my gosh. And it was like, it was distracting me during the show because it's commenting. So I'm like, I'm trying to read it. I'm like, shut up, dude. I don't care. I don't know. So I took us off that, but until we get that, I don't even know, fixed or whatever.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
Other than that, guys, that's going to be this episode. Hope you enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and I hope that you have off on Monday because I don't. The kids are off until next Wednesday, so they get a 4-day weekend, and I get Sunday off. That's just about it. I mean, I work tomorrow, but, that's my doing. But other than that, guys, God bless, and remember, keep it outspoken.
Keep it outspoken. Bye.